What's good, people? It is your boy Jay, the actor, aka Mr. J Weeks ENT himself, here with another episode of Monologue Monday, where we take the time to dive just a little bit deeper into the various components of a monologue. Today's topic, or maybe I should say topics, is obstacle and tactic. Obstacle, tactic. If you recall, last time we talked about an objective. What does your character want, right? The next component of that is obstacle, right? What is in the way? Now that you know what your character wants or your objective, how do you go about getting that, right? Because now we know that there is an opposing force. So what is that opposing force? That is what our obstacle is. Now, what we don't want to do as it relates to looking at a monologue and trying to come up with our obstacle, we don't want to go for what I like to call that low-hanging fruit. Like if you have a character that's very complex, saying something like, "Oh, my character, he's in his own way. He or she is they're in their own way." That is their obstacle. That's something easy to grab, but it's not going to really get you too far. It doesn't have enough depth. It doesn't go deep enough. So let's take the example that we used last time. We talked about a guy wanting to get a girl who's in a relationship. And his objective is to get the girl knowing that she's in a relationship. Okay, so let's go with that. That's the objective, right? Now, the obstacle. What could be in her way? I mean, what can be in his way to get the girl? Maybe it could be that she just ain't feeling him, right? That the girl itself could be herself could really be the obstacle, because he may think that they got a thing going on, but she might just try to put him in the friend zone, right? So that's a good way you can look at something simple for, an obstacle. Maybe the relationship that she's in with the guy, he knows the guy. Might be his man's or somebody that he knows of. So in addition to him trying to convince the girl that they should be an item, he knows her boyfriend, right? And that's probably going to be a problem once he finds out that you're trying to talk to his girl, right? So those are just something simple as that could be an obstacle for this character taking the scenario, right? There's a girl you're trying to get, she's in a relationship, something is in your way, or obstacle could very well be the situation of her boyfriend, she doesn't like you. Any one of those could be something simple, right? As something that could be an obstacle. Now, knowing that those two scenarios are what is in our way, so our obstacle. Now, your tactic, which is your last part, how do I go about still getting the girl knowing that she may not like me, and also her dude may not be feeling me once he finds out that I'm trying to get his girl? Well, if we go to approach of she don't like you, maybe you might try a little more finesse, man. Might put a little suit on, talk a certain way to her when you come, and when you're addressing her, looking in her eyes, taking a slower approach to make sure you add your flair to it, right? Add a little sauce to it, as they say. That could be one way you can look at it. Maybe also, as far as the guy that is her dude who may not have an issue with you, maybe you play the game a little dirty where you try to throw some salt on his name, right? Throwing some salt on his name, because if you can kind of taint him, maybe she'll look at him a little different and maybe hear you out a little bit, right? So these are, some tactics you can take. Take an example of the guy wanting to get the girl, knowing that she's in a relationship. Or maybe you could just take something as simple as just being honest with her, right? Telling her truly and honestly upfront how you feel about her. That could be something that may resonate with her than you trying to run game on her. And once you can put these three components together, remember, there's an obstacle of what your character wants, right? I'm sorry. An objective is what your character wants. An obstacle is your second piece, and the tactic. So you want to think about, number one, what does my character want, right? What is this all about? What do they want? That is your objective. Second piece is what is in the way, right? Or an obstacle. What is in the character's way? And the last thing is knowing that what is my tactic, or how am I going to get my goal knowing what I know, right? How do I put all three of these together? Once you take the time to really dive deeper into your character to figure out what they want, what's in the way, and how they're going to go about getting it, it will only strengthen your character, strengthen your monologue to make it so much more dynamic. A lot of times when you're trying to create characters and trying to give them some depth, you try to think about, well, maybe if I, slow it down a little bit and try to make it sound dramatic. That doesn't always work because you're not putting enough work and research and things into that. So what you want to do is figure out this about the character. What am I saying? What does this all mean? And once you're able to determine that, that will help you to align with what's their objective. What do I want? What does all of this mean? Right. And then from there, you could transition to, okay, I know what I want. Now, what's stopping me from getting my goal? Okay, now you add that opposing force to your monologue. Now we got that to work with. Okay, I know what I want. I know what's in my way. But how do I still go about getting that? And once you're able to do that, the leaps and bounds that you will be able to take as an actor to be able to identify these three things within a monologue, a scene, a play, a show, a short, anything. Once you're able to identify these three things for it, the stronger your characters will be. So I hope that you were able to take away something from our objective, our obstacle, and our tactic. And if you weren't able to, identify or connect with something, come back next time. Maybe we'll have something that may resonate a little better with you. I definitely appreciate you for tuning in and take the time for our Monologue Monday. Be sure to follow us online on all social media platforms at jweeks_ENT, on our website, jweeksentertainment.com. And as always, thank you for supporting the arts. Catch y'all next time.